In this introduction video, I'm going to review how to write each equation of a line into slope-intercept form, which will be very helpful when you go to solve a system of equations by graphing. So the first one we're going to review is slope-intercept form. This is the goal of how you want to get a equation written so you can easily identify the y-intercept and your slope. So the equation is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. This is what you want each equation to look like before you go ahead and graph it. The next one we have is standard form, and for standard form, a must be a positive integer in order for it to be considered standard form. And integers are whole numbers. Integer. And B and C, not B plus C, B and C must also be integers, but they could be negatives. And then the last one we're going to review is point-slope form. So the equation is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And so this is when you are given a specific coordinate, and the coordinate would be x1 comma y1, and then you would substitute those values in, and again your m is slope. So for example, if I'm given the point 3 comma 2 and my slope is -4, I can write point slope form in the version of y minus 2 equals -4 parentheses x minus 3. Just a heads up, if you ever see that either of these signs here are listed as a plus sign, that tells you that one of these values here are a negative. So if this was +2, that would be a -2 for my y, and if this was +3, then this would be a -3. It's just something good to keep in mind. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and review a slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept, let's say you're given that the slope is 1/2. So you're going up 1 and to the right 2, and my y-intercept is, let's go crazy, let's go 0. So then for this, it would be y equals 1/2 x. If my y-intercept was -3, it would be y equals 1/2 x, assuming we still have the same slope, 1/2 x minus 3. So those are the three equations of a line, and again, the objective is when we're solving by graphing, you always want to get your equations into slope-intercept form to make it much easier for you to not only graph, but then also be able to, later down the line, be able to either solve by substitution or elimination. But for graphing, definitely try to get them into slope-intercept form. So for this slide, we are given standard form, and we again want to get our equation into slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept is where y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So again, the objective is we want to get y completely by itself. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to subtract 3x from both sides. So that leaves you with -2y equals -3x plus 5. And you could put the -3x or -3x at the end, but again, our objective is to get y equals mx plus b, so we're going to put that at the beginning of our equation on the right-hand side. From here, what you want to do, again, you want to get y by itself, so we're going to divide both sides of our equation by -2, so we get y equals -3 divided by -2 is +3/2. And I know it's a fraction greater than 1, but you're going to want to leave it like that, and I'll show you why in a second. And then +5 divided by -2 is -5/2. You could rewrite this so you have y equals 3/2 x minus 2 1/2, but that's up to you. So what we have from here is we know that our slope, if we go to graph this, is 3/2, meaning we're going up 3 and to the right 2. And our y-intercept is negative 2.5. So we're going to plot a point at negative 2.5, and then from here, we're going to plot another point going from negative 2.5 on the y-axis, going up 3 and to the right 2. So again, this is how you're going to convert any standard form equation into slope-intercept form. This is one example. In this last example, we are going to convert from point-slope form into slope-intercept form. So again, just as a reminder, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. And so for this, I'm given a point and the slope, and the first thing I need to do is I need to write this into slope-intercept form. Into point-slope form. So point-slope is where we have y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So y1 is the y-coordinate, so this is going to be y minus 2 equals 3 is my slope, parentheses x minus the x-coordinate the x value from my coordinate. Now since I have a negative x value in my coordinate, this is actually going to become x plus 1. So again, whenever you see that plus sign, it tells you that it is going to be a negative value. Now from here, I'm going to distribute my 3 to x and positive 1. So I have y minus 2 equals 3x plus 3. And the objective is we want to get y completely by itself. So in this example, I'm going to add 2 to both sides of my equation. So I have y equals 3x plus 5. Where 5 is my y-intercept. Let me erase that. Y-intercept. And my slope is 3, so this is going to be 3 over 1. So again, I'm going to plot my first coordinate at 0, 5, so 5 on the y-axis, and then from here, I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 1 to plot my next point. So that's how you're going to convert point-slope into slope-intercept form.